Okay, here we go. So, I want to start a new series in the teachings of Rabbi Nachman. I want to speak for a couple of weeks about the topics in the theme of Eretz Yisrael, in the thoughts of Rabbi Nachman ben Breslev. And this was something which was very close to Rabbi Nachman's heart. And there's a famous, long, amazing story about him actually coming to Eretz Yisrael, that he actually made the voyage from Uman, from Breslev to Eretz Yisrael. Actually, it was like he insisted on taking a ship instead of going by land because it would save time. And there's a whole story. Maybe we'll talk about it at a different time. And that was very amazing. His great grandfather, the Baal Shem Tov, so he dreamed of coming to Eretz Yisrael. He tried to come to Eretz Yisrael. On Shvi Pesach, there's a custom in Breslev that on Shvi Pesach, every year they tell the story of the trip of the Baal Shem Tov to Eretz Yisrael. Even though it didn't really work out, that he the furthest he got was Istanbul, and then he was on the way from Istanbul to Eretz Yisrael, and then there was a horrible storm, and he almost died, and then he ended up turning back, and also interestingly, the Gra, the great the adversary, the Bar Pukta of the Baal Shem Tov. So he also dreamed of coming to Eretz Yisrael, and he was even on the way to Eretz Yisrael. He even wrote a letter to his wife and daughter. His wife and mother. It was before he had kids. He was 23 years old, and he wrote a letter that I decided that I'm going to Israel, and it's okay. He writes that it's okay. Other people, so they leave their wife for business. So this is certainly a much better reason to leave you because I'm going to Israel. But it turned out that he understood that it wasn't for him. There's different theories of why he ended up turning back. Anyway, he didn't go. So both the Gra and the Baal Shem Tov wanted very much, and they tried to come to Israel, and it didn't work. But their students, the students of the Baal Shem Tov, the Pri Haaretz, was one of the Talmidei Baal Shem Tov that came, that Rabbi Nachman of Shklov, and also there's a Sefer Pasal Shulchan, his brother, the Rabbi Yisrael Mishklov, that they came to Eretz Yisrael. So the Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov, the Talmidim of the Gra, so they were able to come here, but they themselves didn't. But it was in their minds the whole time, and so it was like he was brought up with this idea that every Jew is dreaming to come to Israel, and there's something. The fact that we're living in Israel right now, that we're existing in Israel, is something unreal. It's something that we should, if we would be healthy, we would be pinching ourselves every day. Is this a dream? Is this real? This is the existence of being here is something that the Baal Shem Tov, the holy Baal Shem Tov, the holy Gra, that he was dreaming his whole life of being in Israel, and he didn't make it, and we made it.
Same with Moshe.
Moshe Rabbeinu didn't make it. Amazing, and this is something that the fact that we're here, so it can lend us to take it for granted. Like we do take it. We totally take it for granted. We totally aren't appreciative of what it means to be in Israel. And it's like that. If we would, somebody said, the Ramesh Sternbach, is Reverend Heinov, he said that it's better to live in New York and to wish that you lived in Israel than to live in Israel and wish that you lived in New York. Okay? So that for 2,000 years, the concept of Eretz Yisrael has been just an idea. And so now they would talk about it, yes, we're dreaming of living in Eretz Yisrael, and the fact that we're living this reality, so for some reason it numbs us, and we need these reminders of how amazing and how awesome and how surreal it is that this is part of our existence. So that's why it's so important to make time and to go through what is so special about Israel. What does it mean that we have this concept in Judaism called Eretz Yisrael? And so that I'm really excited. I'm taking this opportunity, living with the times, as they say in Chabad, that to take this opportunity to go through what is the idea of Eretz Yisrael that we're striving for, that we're connecting with, that is so critical and essential in being a Jew. Okay, so I want to start with the Torah in Rabbi Nachman. two Torahs in Rabbi Nachman where he talks about one of the basic ideas of what it means to be in Israel. One is in Torah Reish Lamed Dalet 234, chapter 234 on the Kutei Moharan. He writes there, Eretz Yisrael hi klaliut hakdusha. It is the sum total of all holiness that exists in the world. Kisham nimtzeit kol ha'eser kedushot, because in Israel can be found all of the 10 kedushot, the 10 levels of kedusha that exist in the world. They are all epitomized in the land of Israel. Uklaliat hakdusha, hainu. What does it mean? The sum total. What is it like? Being holy. What does it mean to be holy? That kedusha. What does holiness mean? So he writes an interesting definition. Hainu shyetzei mitiviyut. To exit, to escape natural law, the world of nature, the laws of nature, teva, to escape nature. That is what kedusha means. To be living with kedusha means to escape the confines of the physical world. Okay, so what does this mean? What does this mean precisely? So he explains this a little bit more in a different Torah, in Torah Zion, in the Kutei Moharan. He writes there that ikar emunah eino ela be'eretz Yisrael. That the essence of emunah, of faith, of connection, of our consciousness of God, the only place that we can really have true emunah, true consciousness of God, is only in Eretz Yisrael. Shenamar, he brings the pasuk into Tehillim, Shechon Eretz Ure'ei Emunah. Okay, it's an amazing pasuk. It says, Shechon Eretz, dwell in the land, Ure'ei Emunah, and graze Emunah. Graze Emunah. This is an important point for something that we'll talk about, I think, next week. But that the pasuk David HaMelech talks about living in Eretz Yisrael, that when you're living in Eretz Yisrael, you're grazing Emunah. You're meaning that we're the cows, and Israel is the grass. And what are we grazing? What are we eating? We're eating emunah. Okay, every part of our existence, every breath we take, every bite we take, it's all emunah. Okay, it's just living in emunah. In fact, that Chazal have a statement that avira de Eretz Yisrael machkim, that the air of Israel makes a person wiser. Okay, meaning that just being in Israel, just breathing in the air of Israel, and eating the chocolate and sour sticks of Israel, it's just the grass of Israel. Everything in Israel, just taking it in, it gives you emunah. Okay, so the only place to have emunah is in Eretz Yisrael. Shneimar shchon eretz emunah. The Shem Kamal Aliyas Tfilos, and emunah is connected to tefillah. Okay, why is it? This is we spoke about when we spoke about emunah, that emunah is connected to tefillah because if you really believe, so you should daven. Right? If you really think that Hashem can help you, so if Hashem is part of your life, so why aren't you talking to Him? Like if you would know that you have a rich uncle that actually loves helping his nephew in Israel, so you would reach out to him, right? If you're not reaching out to him, so then that means that you don't really think he cares about you. You don't really think he exists, right? And so that's why Rabbi Nachman writes that tefillah is connected to emunah. So, and that's why Israel is also the place of aliyat tefillot. That the greatest prayers that a person could have is in Israel. Shenamar, he quotes a pasuk. He says, "Yaakov Avinu, he lay down in Yerushalayim, and when he got up, he said, Ein ze ki im beit Elokim, this is certainly the house of Hashem. V'zeh shar hashemayim, this is the gates to heaven." Okay, so shar hashemayim means that this is the place where the tefillahs go up. This is the place where all of the prayers of the Jewish people. So it's all through here. I heard that there was a person that after the Holocaust there was a group of orphans that they were taking him, and they were I don't know, like they were taken to the Kotel, but like they weren't really, like they were just, it wasn't a religious tour, and they were like telling like this is like just as a historical site, and this is where the temple used to stand, and then I forgot, when I heard the story, I heard the name of the Yid who was there, and that he jumped in, and he said, this is not just a historical place. This is the place when your parents, when they were in the concentration camps and they were davening, so their prayers, first it went from Auschwitz and then it came to here, and it's from here that it went, and they were davening that you guys should make it to Israel. It's all, and this is all of the prayers of the entire world, is the Aliyat HaTfilot, is all through Eretz Yisrael. That's why there's a halacha, everybody knows, that wherever you are in the entire globe, so what direction do you pray? We pray facing Yerushalayim. Okay, you face wherever the direction is to Yerushalayim. We're always facing Yerushalayim. Why? Because otherwise your tefillos are going to have to take a U-turn. We want your tefillos to have an easy time. the way that every tefillah goes is that it goes first. It comes to the Kaisel, and then from the Kaisel it goes up to Shemayim. That this is Eretz Yisrael is the makom aliyat hatfilot shnama v'zeh sha'ar Shemayim, and then it continues v'zeh makom hanisim. That because it's the makom of tefillah, the tefillah, he writes, means that a person can overcome the laws of nature. Because according to the laws of nature, according to natural causes, according to just living life, so things should work out a certain way. And you daven, and then you can outdo the laws of nature. So the things were supposed to work out, that you were not supposed to get the job, and you davened, please, and then you got the job. So tefillah goes against the laws of nature. So because Eretz Yisrael is the makam of Emunah, and Emunah is the makam of tefillah, and Emunah is and tefillah is about making miracles. So Eretz Yisrael is the land of miracles. Okay, so this is really the deeper understanding of what he means. That Eretz Yisrael is klaliyotu kedusha. It is the sum total of all the kedusha in the world, and the sum total of kedusha is defined by latzet mitiviut, to escape nature. Okay, so part of what it means, we're talking about being Israelic, talking about being Israeli. What does it mean to be Israeli? What does it mean to be connected to Israel? Being connected to Israel means that the laws of nature do not apply. Okay, and this is so being now let's recenter to how we started. That for 2,000 years, this is a concept. For 2,000 years, this was like that. I believe that there's an Eretz Yisrael. I believe that there's a land of Israel and there's a land where the laws of nature don't really apply. That everything, and now we're living it, and now we're experiencing it. And so like this is like we need to pinch ourselves and say, hey, no, this is it. That means that I'm living in a place where the laws of nature don't really apply. So what does this mean? So I want to try to understand this on numerous levels. First of all, there's something amazing about the land of Israel, that there is a correlation. There's a relationship between the physical land of Israel and the Jewish people. And this is an idea that you can find in a famous class that I think Ken Spiro put together from Aish, called The 7 Wonders of Jewish History. And over there he talks about the fact that there's an amazing historical phenomenon that Israel defies the laws of nature, that usually you have that how fertile how a land is, how good the agricultural in a certain land is depending on the dirt, depending on the location. And with Israel, so it's a little bit more complicated. That it depends how good the agriculture is going to be. It depends on who is living there. That when there's a Jewish people, so then it's going to be a good agricultural land, and when there's no Jewish people, then it's not going to be a good agricultural land. And that's something that obviously doesn't make any sense. The fact is, if you learn agriculture, and what kind of major would you take to learn about agriculture?
Agricultural science.
Agricultural science. That sounds good. Okay, so if you're an agricultural science major, so we'll never tell you that how good the tomatoes are going to be depends on who is living in the land. Okay, they will. In fact, they will probably tell you that that's racist, and that you're a colonizer, and that you should from the river to the sea. And so what am I talking about? So in early times, in the times like Avram Avinu, like the Middle East was known as the Fertile Crescent. Okay, it was the Fertile Crescent means that was the place where it was between the Euphrates River and a different river. What? Nile? No.
Oh,
okay.
Prat,
yeah.
Euphrates
is Prat.
Tigris.
Yeah. Okay, between these two rivers, that was the Fertile Crescent. That was the like what the Middle East was supposed to be, and it was called fertile. It was the place where there was a lot of agriculture, and Josephus. So he writes. See, I mean, we know that even before Josephus, like during the times of Yeshua, so like there were 32 Canaanite nations living here. Like it was very, very fertile. It was very, very. So, and then now why Hashem made it fertile when the Canaanites were there? So that Chazal tells us that was simply to pave the way for us Jews, because it was really they were just keeping our seat warm until we could come, but really that was for us. And then we know that during the whole time that we were there, it was amazing. During the times of Bayis Rishon, during the times of Bayis Sheni, they talked about even before that, the fruits of Israel when the spies brought from the fruits of Israel, they thought it took 5 people to take a thing of grapes. It was unreal how good the fruits of Israel was very, very amazing. And this continued for the next couple thousand years, for 1,200 years or so. And then we have a report from the time of Bayis Sheni, from Josephus, that he writes, the whole area is excellent. This is a translation, obviously. The whole area is excellent for crops and pasturage. It's rich in trees of every kind. Every inch of it has been cultivated by its inhabitants, and not a parcel goes to waste. Okay, that's a very, very fertile kind of land. And this was during the time of Josephus, was during Bayis Sheni. Okay, and then suddenly, so we were exiled after the Romans exiled us after Churban Bayis Sheni, and then the next report we have, it's completely desolate. And the Ramban is he's approximately 1,000 years ago. He's like a couple hundred years after Churban Bayis Sheni. So he writes in a letter to his son that everything is completely destroyed. Everything is complete desolation. He writes that he's kol hakadosh mechaver chorav mechaver. That anything which is more holy becomes more desolate, and that's why he noticed that Jerusalem is the most desolate of all. Okay, that's really that there's no trees there. Later in 1869, there's a famous testimony from Mark Twain. Mark Twain made a trip to Israel, and he wrote in this book called Innocents Abroad. So he writes that the desolation is here. That not even imagination can grace with the pomp of life and action. The further we went, the hotter the sun got, the more rocky and bare, repulsive and dreary the landscape became. There was hardly a tree or shrub anywhere. Even the olive and the cactus, those fast friends of a worthless soil, had almost deserted this country. No landscape exists that is more tiresome than that which is found as one approaches to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is mournful, dreary, and lifeless. This is not so long ago. This is already for thousands of years. This was from after Churban Bayis Sheni until Mark Twain is saying this in 1869. Now then, when we came in 1948, when we came to Israel, so agricultural experts came in to advise us as to what we should do, and they tested the land, and they reported that hell will freeze over before we are able to get one tomato out of this land. Okay, that is the quote that the world experts in agricultural science reported, and then we and then we party hard, and then we came and look what we did. Like we have so much. We have export. We have so much. We have everything. We have wheat and we have oranges and we have cucumbers and we have pineapples and we have onions and we have everything. We have papaya and all this. Not to mention the shiva saminim and it's just amazing. The pomegranates and we have everything. Mamish, everything, and this actually defies what's been going on for the past 2,000 years. Now, it doesn't defy what existed in general because like we said, that for over 1,000 years before that, it was actually very fertile. So this is actually the way it was supposed to be. Just they were like the way somebody put it. It was like there was a big sign that do not disturb, reserved for the Jews. And so now what's very interesting is that this phenomenon that the Torah talks about this phenomenon, and then the pasuk says in Vayikra, it says in B'chukasai, when it talks about the curse, it talks about the curses of what's going to happen when we don't follow the Torah. So it says that we're going to go into exile, and then the pasuk writes, "V'hashimaisi ani es haaretz," I will make the land desolate, "V'shamemu aleha oiveichem hayoshvim ba," and even your enemies that dwell in this land, they will have a desolate land. Okay, so meaning that Hashem is punishing the land, so to speak. That He's saying before this happens, that this is the time that we were getting the Torah, even before we even came to Israel. But at the time, it was certainly a very fertile land, and He's telling us that this land is going. That when you come out, when you're exiled, it's going to be desolate even for your enemies. And then the pasuk says in Yechezkel Perak Lamed Vav Perak Pasuk Ches, it says that the prophecy is saying a prophecy to the land, to the V'atem Harei Yisrael, and you, the mountains of Israel. And Feichem Titenu, give forth your branches, Uprichem Tisu, and carry your fruits, Li'ami Yisrael Ki Karvu Lavo, to my nation Israel, because they are coming. So the fact that what we see in all of the agriculture, anywhere you go, that you see that acres and acres, and in Hebrew you say dunams of land, and it's so much agriculture, and it's all growing and it's all flourishing. So this is defying nature. Okay, this is a land where there's different laws of science in the land itself. Okay. Now, what's very interesting is that it's actually a two-way street. That like these sources have been showing that the land of Israel is dependent, the physical land, the physical agriculture is dependent on us. But the truth is that it's also a bilateral. That our success depends on the land of Israel. This is an idea that the Kuzari writes. The Kuzari, by the way, is unique in the books of Jewish thought. I would say that there's three great books of Jewish thought. That number one the Kuzari, number two the Rambam, the Moreh Nevuchim, and number three Derech Hashem. And of these three books, so the Kuzari is unique in the fact that he puts the land of Israel as a focal point in Jewish thought and Jewish belief. That one of the basics of being a Jew is to know that the Jews have a home, that they have a land, and this is where we're supposed to be. And if we're anywhere else, that's not where we're supposed to be. And so the Gra, we mentioned before that the Gra was like he dreamt of coming to Israel. So that's why it's probably the reason why the Gra was so he very much admired the Sefer Kuzari. He wrote that it's kadosh v'tahar, it's a holy and pure book, and the essence of Judaism can be found at the Kuzari. And the reason why he was into the Kuzari is because it's something that he put on the map that a very basic thing in being a Jew is to be connected to the land of Israel. Okay, so the Kuzari writes that why is it that we need a land of Israel? Why does the Jewish people need a land? Why can't we just be a wandering nation? Why can't we just be a nomadic nomadic land, nomadic people. So he explains that just like in agriculture, that you have certain grapes, you have certain kinds of fruits, that they need a certain kind of what's the word, climate. They need a certain kind of precise location that is perfect for growing that kind of fruit. And if it's anywhere else, so you can grow it, but it's going to be messed up. It's not going to be the same. So it's the same thing with people. It's the same thing with people, and that you can have the only way that you're gonna have a real African. For African to be a real African, he needs to be in Africa. If you're going to take him to America, he's not going to be something is not the same. He's not going to be a real African. If you have a real Italian, so if you're going to put him to America, so he's not going to be so Italian anymore. and he says that you want to know what for a Jew to be a really a Jew, in order to be a Jew, needs to be in Israel. That's just it's not going to be the same. If you have a Jew, put him in New York, it's not going to be the same thing. It's like, I don't know, he's going to lose his accent, he's going to lose his ability to make cholent, he's going to, and they're going to start, it used to be that like at a Farbrengen, so you have cholent. Now they have sushi, they have, I don't know, they have, what else do they have? They have meat boards. This is not Jewish. Farbrengens need cholent. This is like, so that the place where we have the best cholent. No, I'm joking. the place where a Jew can be a Jew is only in that. There's something about being born and bred in Israel that it forms us. It makes us the way we were meant to be. Okay? There's something, and so we are affected. And going back, that when we say affected, I mean we're affected by breathing in the air. We're affected by drinking the water. We're affected by you have these people that they like the import like everything. They can't have anything Israeli. They need their American toilet paper and their American peanut butter and their American chocolate. And there's something that you're taking away a blessing from your life. That if you want to take it in, if you want to, that part of becoming what you were meant to be is the whole Israeli experience requires that you're taking it in. You're literally taking in the air, taking in the produce, taking in the vitamins, taking in the physical existence of Israel. So now what it means to be in Israel. What it means to be in Israel. So Rabbi Nachman told us is that Latzet mitiviyut, to escape the worlds of nature. And the truth is that this is really based on the pasuk. This is the most basic thing. It says in the Torah. It says the pasuk says in Parshas Nitzavim that Eretz Yisrael is the Eretz asher tamid enei Hashem Elokecha ba mevishit shana ad achrit shana. That this is the land that constantly the eyes of God are on this land from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Yeah, that's what the pasuk says in Parshas Nitzavim. So, what does it mean that the eyes of Hashem are here? So all the commentaries explain that this means that there's a special hashkacha pratit, there's a special divine intervention in our lives that exists in Israel more than anywhere else in the world. Okay? So this hashkacha pratit, this divine intervention, that's what it means, that when Hashem is looking at us, what's it mean he's looking at us? So it means that he's keeping his eye on us. Okay, that's what it means. Okay? It means that he's making sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. That nothing just happens. Everything is happening exactly the way it's supposed to happen. That there's more hashkacha pratit in Israel than there is anywhere else. So, now by the way, I want to, as an aside, that hashkacha pratit does not mean that everything is jolly. Okay? Sometimes things are not supposed to be. Sometimes things are supposed to be bad. And I had a conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago, like during when Iran was threatening to bomb us and send missiles. So So I was telling him that we're in danger here. Like we need to appreciate that. We have to make this an amazing Shabbos. We're like, who knows? Like, it could be this will be our last Shabbos. It could be that we're not going to be here next Shabbos. Like let's live the Shabbos to the highest. And he said to me, what do you mean? But it says, this is the land that Hashem is always keeping his eyes on it. So how could it be? Of course nothing's going to happen. So I asked him, like, how can you say, of course nothing's going to happen? But don't you know that October 7th happened? Don't you know that Yom Kippur War happened? The fact that, is that if Hashem always makes sure that nothing happens, so how do things happen? And when it says it does not mean that nothing bad can happen in Israel, but it means that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Okay, and I told him that that's it was right after I gave a class about Emunah, that the difference between Emunah and being being immature, like that person. Sometimes people are just immature in the name of Emunah. That I'm good. I believe in Hashem. Everything's going to be okay, and I don't need to worry about anything. I don't need to worry about. And just to not be aware of the situation. That's not called having Emunah. That's called being a baby. Okay, Emunah means that you're extremely aware of the situation, and even though you're aware of the situation, you know that everything is okay. That I'm in good hands. Whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. So I don't need to freak out. And he saw me that I was not freaking out. I was taking this as an opportunity to live Shabbos to the highest. But it doesn't mean that nothing bad happens in Israel. But it means everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. But what it does mean is that the laws of nature don't apply. If we're talking about wars, so everybody knows that it's a famous story that there was a Jewish soldier. There was a Jewish American soldier who was studying in West Point, and so they were learning different war strategies, and he asked him, why don't we learn about the wars of Israel? Israel has so many amazing wars that we won, so why don't we learn from them? So, and his commander told him that I'm sorry, but there is not one war that Israel fought that follows any rules of war strategy. That every war that Israel fought flies in the face of everything that I'm teaching you here. There's nothing that we can glean from the wars in Israel because it just makes absolutely no sense. Okay, and this is and this is every single war. Every single war in Israel consistently makes zero sense. Okay, so that's on a national level. But the truth is that happens to every single person. When the hashgacha pratis, the latzet mitiviyut, the exiting the world of nature, this is something that everybody in Israel experiences. There is, could be I've shared this story to you before, that one of my colleagues in Neve, Rabbi Nissel, so he told me that when he was in yeshiva, so at some point his parents wanted him to go to university, and he didn't want to go to university, and he wanted to stay in Israel, and so he went to discuss it with Rabbi Yashiv, who was the biggest rabbi alive at the time, and so he was sitting down with Rabbi Yashiv, and he was telling him the pros and telling him the cons, and so Rabbi Yashiv told him that I think that you should go, but you should go married. You should go married, right? Yeah, that makes sense. If you're married, so then you're more you're set in your ways. You can't decide you're going to stop being religious overnight if you're married to somebody religious. So once you're committed to in a marriage, so then more or less you're less. It's harder to just slip. Okay, so if you have that, so you should go married. So he said, Kvod Harav, but the semester starts in 3 months, and I'm not going out with anybody. So it's not like it's not. You can't just tell me just you should go married. Like, there's no girls. So Rav Yashiv laughed. Yashiv laughed at him, and he said, "Kan ze Yerushalayim Yer HaKodesh, Zelo Baya." That we're in the holy city of Yerushalayim. That's not a problem. And sure enough, that week, he met his future wife, and they went out for I don't know how long they went out. And before the semester started, they were married. Okay, and this is like a real this is a real thing. I'll tell you another story. This is a story that I don't think I've ever said it here. I say it sometimes Friday nights at the Shabbos meal. A story that I heard from somebody who heard from the hero of the story, that the heroine of the story, she was living in Austria, and this lady named Paula, and so she was a doctor. She was doctor in Austria, and she gets an urgent phone call, and that your mom she's dying, and you need to come to her immediately before she passes away. And so she runs to her mother, and her mother tells her that there's a secret that I never told you, that you're not actually my daughter. I adopted you, and you're actually Jewish. And I'll tell you what happened. That I was a Polish lady working in the concentration camps during the Holocaust, and so apparently your mother. So she came with this very expensive fur coat, and so she thought that she could hide you in the coat, but it didn't work. And the first thing when your mother came to the concentration camp, so they said everybody take off your clothing, and so I was working in the place in the concentration camp where they would sort out all the different things that they had stolen from the Jews. They had all the suitcases and all that, the clothing. So I was working in this room. We were sorting out all of these things that they stole, and then we came to this fur coat, and we found you inside. And everybody there knew that me and my husband, that your father, that we had been married for 15 years. We never had children. We were dying for children. But on the other hand, that it was the protocol in the concentration camp that if you find a baby, you have to kill it. But everyone felt for me, and they understood that it was that we could make an exception, and so they agreed that I could take you home, and you would be my baby. And I took you home. I think I did a good job, and I brought you up, and I sent you to medical school, and look, I think I was a good mother. But it's important for me that you should know the truth, that really you're a Jewess, and if you don't believe me, so go home in my bedroom, go into the jewelry box, and at the bottom of the jewelry box you'll find an old Star of David, and that's a Jewish thing. And when I found you, you were wearing that Star of David around your neck. So she goes. So a couple of hours later, her mother passes away, and she goes back to the house, and she looks into the jewelry chest, and she actually sees the Star of David, and so she starts wearing it, and then the next day, she's not Jewish. She didn't sit shiva, and so she was like. But the next day, she had some conference in America, and it was a doctor's conference that she was supposed to go to. So she's on the plane, and she's going crazy, and so when she gets off the plane in New York, and what's the first thing she sees? A Chabad stand. So she says, "Oh, great! These are Jewish people. They can help me." So So they go over. So she goes over to these Chabad people. She starts crying and telling him her story. And like, I just found that I'm really Jewish. I don't know what to do. And he's so, whoa. You have to talk to our rabbi. This is out of our league. You have to talk to our rabbi. So hold on a second. So they make some phone calls and they try to get her an appointment with the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So she told him, yes, okay, you have to show up to 770, and he'll take you at 1 a.m, and there's not really like this is you have no idea how lucky you are. The appointments like this take months and months and months to get an appointment, but he's making a special exception. And so she shows up, and she's sitting in front of the Bilateral Rebbe, and she tells him the whole story, and he looks at her, and he says, "It's time to return to the land of your people. You have to move to Israel." That's his advice to her, and these words they pierce her heart, and she says, "You know, you're right. This is my people. This is my destiny. This is where I need to be." And so she goes, and she comes, and she moves to Israel, and she finds a Jewish boy, and they get married, and they're living in Israel, and they're building a family. Okay, so fast forward a bunch of years. And so she's there in the 1990s. So during the first Intifada, so there was a lot of bombings, like there were a lot of bus bombings. And so there was a famous bombing at Sparrows. There's like I think that's where the Dr. Applebaum and his daughter Chava Applebaum, that the creators of Taran. So it was a horrible story that night that Dr. Applebaum was taking out his daughter the night before her wedding, and he and his daughter he was taking it for like the last night before the wedding for a daughter Abba night, and he took her out to Sparrows, and they were both killed in this bombing, and her wedding gown they turned into a pareches at Kever Rachel, and you can see that like there's a white, like they turned you can see it there. And so during this bombing, so happened to be that Paula was in Jerusalem, and she was in the area during this bombing, and so obviously everybody's going crazy, and she sees this older man, just like not okay, just going back and forth, and she says, "Can I help you?" He says, "Yes, I need your help. I can't find my granddaughter." And so what she looked like, she's like, this is tall, this wearing this kind of dress, and whatever. And so after a couple of minutes, Baruch Hashem, they find the granddaughter. And she looks at the granddaughter, and she notices that she has a necklace that the mamish looks like the necklace that she found in her mother's jewelry. And she asked this old man, where is this necklace from? So he said that actually I made this I made this necklace. The truth is that I made two such necklaces. One of them I gave to my daughter, who gave to her daughter, and this is my granddaughter, and that's why she's wearing this, because she got it from her mother. And the other one I gave to my other daughter, but she was killed in Auschwitz. And so of course there's a moment of silence, and then she screamed out, "Abba!" And there was a lot of tears, and it was amazing, unreal reconnections. So different layers to the story. Of course, part of it's very amazing that the Lubavitcher Rebbe thought that it was a good idea for her to move to Israel, but what I always find amazing about the story is that Israel is the place where everything comes together. And this is the place where coincidence is nature, and this is the place of latzeit mitiviyut, that there aren't any rules anymore. The things just work out perfectly, and that's why we're they call this the startup country. Things we don't in outside of Israel. So the way you need to be secure, everything has to go by the rules. And in Israel, it was let's hope for the best. Things will work out. That part of living in Israel means that coming into this mentality that it's okay, everything's going to be under control. This is the world. This is the place where the rules don't apply, and we have a different set of rules, So this is the first point of what it means to connect. What it means to connect to Israel. What it means to be an Israel Yid. To be what it means to be a Jew who's connected to Israel is to really internalize the fact that the rules don't apply to us, and we're living in a different place. We're living in a different dimension, and so that Hashem is with us. Hashem is that Hashem Elokeinu imanu niskav lanu. Hashem is with us in every step we take, and so that just to take this mentality and really to live it, and to stop being these Americans living in Israel, and to realize that we can actually become Israeli. We can actually start with this new kind of culture, this new kind of consciousness, this new kind of life, and it's a lot of it. It's actually comforting. It's actually relieving to know that it's okay, that everything is going to be under control, and we can take chances, and we can hope for the best, and we know that Hashem has got our back. So l'chaim to being very, very Israeli, and l'chaim to the fact that we're connected to Rabbi Nachman, who taught us how connected we need to be to the land of Israel. And so we'll continue next week with more of what it means to be connected to the land of Israel. B'ezrat Hashem.